Gentlemen, welcome back to map 2 of a possible 3. I'm McCready. Joining me today is Naj, or Jack, I believe. And so far, Jack, we've got a really good comeback story, but a really boring close to a series, depending on how this game goes.
Indeed, we have. And I mean, with how the last map went, it could be pretty much over after this first half, with the side of Asgard starting on the defense, as you can see. On these bans, I've pretty much already said we could see something relatively telling of the previous map. We see the Monty again, once again on Asgard's side. The Dekebi, I think, was more of a comfort ban, but we could see it again. Something like the Dekebi, the Ying, the standard sort of bans are pretty viable on this map. You could also see something like I don't know, something random, like someone with smokes. Flores, also great one for, like utility clear and stuff like that. On the defense, I think we could see the clash again, but I'd be more hard-pressed to say that we should, after the last map, see Azami and Valkyrie go.
Yeah, I mean, Valkyrie, obviously the util game. Azami is just being able to get these choke points, and so much lines of sight being blocked off by the defenders that the attackers can't afford to let it go. Like you said, they've been taken off the board for that reason. I mean, having those keeper barriers, it means that they just have the flexibility mid-round to make adjustments to the position, maybe take a look behind. Again, that clash is going to be taken away. Kind of nothing really surprising you in that operating phase, is there?
I mean, the Flores caught me off guard a little bit. But I mean, for utility clear and stuff, like Flores can be relatively expected, and Consulate's one of those maps where Goyo's criminally overplayed. So it's like, realistically, yeah. And like Castle's great on Consulate as well. So it's one of those operators that you're going to want like a Flores or someone to clear that style of utility. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw something like a Sledge, just to have like, comfortability in being able to clear those things, because it's one of the few situations where Sledge can be truly worthwhile.
Yeah, but then you also have operators like Ash or, say, an Ace that could take down this utility. Preferably not the Ace, don't get me wrong. But there are workarounds still. There's no kind of reliance on that one operator thanks to that ban phase coming through. The big thing for Consulate for me, Jack, is the fact that this is Asgard's pick. And Asgard have just won that last game, and now they're going on to the defense first, which really doesn't bode very well for the side of Penta, does it?
It really doesn't. Like, looking at how it went last map, you kind of just look at it and you get a bit uncertain, because it's like it wasn't close. There was speckles of hope, like Exi and Zetak. They both went crazy, especially towards the earlier portion of the map for Exi. He has managed to find the opening, which is nice, but yeah, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, look, you say, run out trying to go up from Claim, trying to set a very strong start, but unable to find that kill. Chrissy will find Tom as well and keep that attacking advantage in favor. Another kill from Exi will take down Irons and get 2 on the board for them. A very strong round for the side of Penta Club, which might be exactly what they needed. Just when we're doubting them, saying, well, maybe they might not win this one. They've started off very well. 2 minutes already, and while you see Yashiro will get a kill onto Exi, the Dokkaebi scan is coming out. Now the drones are following as well. The C4 goes out to find a kill, will find Chrissy.
Beautiful.
And now Yashiro swings to weapon, tries to find the player, but isn't able to get it just yet. They've been able to knock a player off the board, but they can pull back and start to wait for the long lines of sight. Sinzo able to find Zeta as well.
This is a wonderful play from both of them. Being able to fall back to vending here on long desk is going to allow a lot of freedom for this MP7. And if there's any gun you really want standing around in a 1v2, the MP7 is going to be on that list, as he is just holding on towards this little connector side. He knows there's a player going to be coming from that direction, and here he comes. Isn't able to get himself a plant down in the final 1v1. Both players whiffing just slightly, and the pistols come out. Ace is there to win it, and it's going to be Asgard, or Penta, sorry, with the first round.
Yes, we doubted them, but they said, no, we're here to play some siege. So they went on the top floor. They were able to win it out. And it was a little bit ropey at the end there, but they started out very strong. They got 3 kills before the attackers, the defense even got 1. They slowed things down. they were really able to just stop Asgard from really getting comfortable. And as a result, then, when a couple of plays did come out in the favor of Asgard, there wasn't the rest of the team or the kind of map control to back that up. And that's where Penta really took control and they really started to close in.
The thing that really worries me, though, is the first round of last map was also Penta's. And,
yeah.
I mean, with that going 7-2, you can only really chalk that first round of this map down to one of two reasons. And that is that they've either A, you know, they've booked up their ideas, they've had a talk behind the scenes, and they've decided that they're going to put a bit more than 100% into this, maybe 110, and they've came out with that first round. But there is also the fact of the matter that they're just kind of being felt out by their opponent, and Asgard, especially with how good they were in the later portion of that round, I think could have just been kind of playing with their food or taking too many ballsy risks to actually be able to, you know, carry it out. But Asgard, claim! What a C4.
Yeah, you can see Asgard there. They're aware of where the push is coming out from Penta, and they were ready. They lost that early gunfight. As Clay did try and run out, but that, well, the second time. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on me. I know I got it wrong, but the principle still applies. Now what Penta are going to have to do is they're going to have to rotate around and try and deal with this without not only the Hibana, but the Gridlock as well. So they only have Ace for the Heartbreach utility. They don't have the Flank Watch, so Baki and Zeta are going to have to focus on that. And now as the Doc V-Scan comes out, they're going to go in at a two-player disadvantage into the admin side. The fire does answer and the pink does go out, but no mark from the side of Disrupt. And the attack is very, very uncomfortable. They don't want to beat this because they could lose everything. Chrissy moves in, doesn't find the kill, just plays it safe and waits for backup to come in. Oh, no! Chrissy's unable to line that shot up, doesn't get the kill. It's going to be actually finding Yashiro though. And now we'll see Chrissy trying to move in, trying to get that even player count. But it's not going to happen at the moment as we hit that halfway mark now. The push into admin has come through, but the defense are very much aware of where this attack is coming from, aren't they, Jack?
Well, indeed they are. They are all eyes on this side of the map, and I really think that both of these teams, especially like with how the last map was played and stuff like that, they could really benefit from a lurking player on this attacking side. But right now, everybody grouping up over this far side, such powerful positions from these defenders, especially with that player standing around and vending. Yeah. I really think that this could be a huge issue, and forcing the issue is going to be Exy. Finds the first one.
Yes, but Clayton has a quick answer, finding a third kill in their round for themselves. And the thing is, the defenders know exactly where the attackers are, which means a Disrupt and Exy, very low HP between them, only 122, have to try and make this work. They have to try and push in, and they got to play together. 30 seconds ticking down. The defense know exactly where they are. It's just like we saw before. And that player's still behind vending. I don't think they know about Tom, because the drones were shot by Irons.
I'm really hoping they do.
Forward. They go forward, they don't spot the swing, it's going to be Irons finding the kill. And then as the gunfight comes out, Iron loses it, but Tom's there to clean things up. And the round going in favor of Asgard. And okay, we've seen a round where both teams have won it. What are your kind of thoughts of this one, Jack?
Yeah, once again, a little back and forth. I really think Asgard are just kind of feeling out what Penta try and do. And I think they just have the answer that Penta's kind of lacking. Like at the moment, look at the team that is on the lineup for the defense. It's Fenrir, Big Five, Mirror in the Big Five, Goyo might as well be, Vigil also might as well be. It's like these are four outstanding operators, and then you've got an MP7 as well. It's like, with these operators in general, there is so much stupid utility that you have to deal with, especially with the Vigil being on side and the Boss G being the gun it is right now. I just want to bring this up again, because I brought this up in a couple casts when the Boss G started being used again. I want to make people aware this is the only gun in the game that can one-shot down people to the body at up to 20 meters.
Yeah, and I feel like it's such a dominating weapon because it feels good to use as an actual player. And when you get those shots, you feel good about it. That's why a lot of players have really enjoyed using it again. And like you say, that damage is massive. Look at the attack defensive lineup as that first pick doesn't go through.
The
Very
important
aggressive.
thing, the
Very,
important
very
thing to
high
note
rate of fire points.
is Callie cannot do that.
Yeah.
And she has a 50 cap. That's why the Boss G is as good as it is right now.
Exactly. Now, the name of the game here for the side of PENTA is to get in and start doing some verticality and start getting this util off the ball and try and deal with some of these roamers. Maybe get a couple of picks on the players roaming or at least down below. Because look at the guns. I'm going to keep coming back to this here, Jack. 2 vectors, one with an ACOG and a Boss G ACOG and 2 MP7s. Very aggressive, very high rate of fire. And it looks right now, Asgard are just going to let PENTA walk into their web. Zeta gets taken down and a refrag will come out from Chrissy. So the question is it enough? They've just lost their Thermite and they've just lost Buck as well. Bucky has the answer for now 3 versus 3 and very much the momentum in favor of the defense.
Hatch gets opened though, which is definitely good for these attackers. The spray through the floor does find the Ash, and realistically, just in this position in general, it's going to be difficult for the attack, but they've done the things they needed to do. They've cleared out these positions on the first floor. They've given themselves some space to work with. They've got the hatch open. They've got a bit of vertical pressure. They've opened this mirror window that's on site. They need now to just start pressuring these angles. Get these players forced out of position.
And looking up, because one player they need to force out of position is Tom. Tom has that case locked in. I think the attackers of Bucky might be aware. They spot the player, they certainly are now, but they're not going to win out the gunfight. That's Tom finding the kill, the drop comes down, and while Tom will fall, there's a minute left, and 2 defenders on the board. 1 C4 in pocket, a Vector, and an MP7 going up against Jackal with very limited options on what to do. The breach isn't open, because the thermite has been taken away. They've given away their position, not only by killing the Vigil, but by shooting that gadget. And now they have no option but to look at heading down below. They can look for the vertical, but they need to drop. As soon as that happens, you can see the crossfires already in place from the defense. They will get their kill.
Indeed. This could be played well from this Jackal. And I was going to bring up the fact that he has those smokes. He can clear off one of those angles. He doesn't check the one he needs to. Gets the turnaround. And Klein very nearly had a difficult time there if he wasn't quite able to find that kill.
Can we talk about the fact that it took so long to deal with that Vigil? And they were walking into gunfights. They had a Jackal on the board. They had drones on the board, Jack.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that the Vigil is so good at dealing with those things, because obviously, like, Jackal, you still ping him, but like, for example, the drones with him being on the floor above, it's difficult to gauge where he is. You can kind of guess that he's going to be on the hatch, but it's difficult to gauge where he is. And then with the Boss G being as powerful as it is, it's just not a fun operator to deal with, especially when you know the enemy team has a man advantage, because he knows he can throw his life away. But it was really unfortunate to see that, like, well, the first big mishap for the side of PENTA was the fact that there was a misdrone on the Goyo, and I think it was Zetac that did it. You know, the guy who dropped 10 kills last game, who's now 0-3. He misdroned a corner that he had to walk past in order to get to where he wanted to be. And that's a huge blunder.
Along with the case. I feel like, especially with that Vigil on the board, as an attacking lineup, you need to assume that there's going to be somewhere up there anyway. There needs to be droning, there needs to be some sort of flank watch. Even a Nomad, you have the gridlock in play. You didn't really get any utility out of those track stingers, and that's where I feel like Tom was just allowed to do their thing. They just stayed on that top floor, they just waited, and they held the angles. Combine that with Zetac, not droning in, going in as Thermite, alone with that diffuser, it just was a recipe for disaster.
I don't mean to interrupt you again. I hate this rush with a passion. Because it either works or it doesn't. You're probably going to have to take this away.
Yeah, as Yashiro and Klein are both able to find the first kill. That rush comes through, and Tom and Sinzo are just able to shut it down. Because, like you say, that rush, it either works or it doesn't, and right now, it has not worked at all. Everything's down to Zetac with the R4C. Well, they can win out this gunfight. They can make something magical happen with it. They've yet to find a kill, and it's not going to be this round as Yashiro cleans things up. I was a bit too busy talking about the last round. Let's talk about that one. What has happened, and why did it go so wrong there for PENTA?
Okay, so just a quick explanation on the way that strat works. You all basically just either go up yellow, go in the window, drop the skylight, whatever. You just, it's a yellow rush. Standard yellow rush. Everyone knows what a yellow rush is. The problem with a yellow rush is because of the positioning of the defending players, you are forced to filter through 2 narrow doorways. Now, those two narrow doorways means you are essentially forced to either send the blitz first and risk having some sort of utility that, well, screws them over, or you are forced to take 2 separate 1v1s that you have to win in order for that rush to work.
Yeah, and it just didn't seem to on that one. It feels like Asgard were very aware of what was going to happen. They were quite prepared for it, and they had the gun skill to back things up. So that's going to be another comfortable round for themselves as they look to make 4 rounds on the defense, which you'd expect on your map pick on the defense. The thing is, to me, is this where PENTA are going to be able to bring it back? We saw that they got that first round, but like you said before, it might just be Asgard being a little bit over-aggressive. They got an early run out that they didn't get any kills on, and then it was just picking Bromas one by one. But the second round adapted very quickly. How do we see this one playing out?
Yeah, at the moment, with kind of the way people are positioned and the way things are set up, I don't really see any sort of, like, major pressure over towards CEO once again. I think even just bringing the Ying as a bait and throwing like a couple Candelas through the window while your team takes the control of admin could be really, really good for the attacking side. But instead, there's just a lot of stagnating.
Yeah,
they're just going to be going for the same push.
And like he's going to get taken off the board. While we will see Tom get downed in Retribution, the question is, will they be finished off? That breach does get open. It allows that second front for the attackers to go in, but right now, they still need to take control of this admin side. Tom will be finished off. That means the attackers can start looking towards this site a bit more, but there are still roamers that they need to clear out. And you can see Yashiro's been spotted. Irons will be taken down, and PENTA, this is a good start. But the C4 goes out. They're going to be catching an exit on the rappel, and they don't even know. And as such, they get taken down to 3 versus 3. Another C4 rings out, but isn't going to go off. And right now, you will see Yashiro get knocked off by Bok. And now it's a 2 versus 3. Again, in favor of the attackers, but we've seen it go wrong for them before.
That we have, and there is going to be a little bit of a flank from Senzo. It was perfect until it wasn't. He looked away, and now this SMG-11, all that remains in these hands, finds one, gets the injury onto another. It's going to be an effective 1v1 as he tries to take the swing, both whiffing a little bit. The reload coming out. He knows that the man's going to be in front of him, and he now knows he's in bathroom. Z-Tac finishes the round, and that is going to be another round for PENTA, once again following the same trend that we did in the previous map. 3-2 in favor of Asgard.
Yes, now 1 round can change things up. We get a 3-3 scoreline, and PENTA can go into this second half. They can be quite comfortable. They can go in and say, well, we've done our job on attack. We go into the defense now. But for the side of Asgard, this is where they lock things down. They've made adaptations before, and we need to see it again as they go back to the top floor. One thing I want to see from PENTA, though, which I don't feel I saw enough of in that last round, especially at the end there, is things were going their way. They had a 3v1 advantage, and then they started to solo peak. They weren't trying to coordinate the peaks, and I feel like that's something that on this last round they're going to need to make sure they improve on. Because if we see the adaptations going out from Asgard like we saw before, that's not something they're going to get away with. They need to really step things up in terms of coordination and how they peak. Do that, but keep that end game a little bit more tightly coordinated. They could get a really good round here.
I don't want to be that guy that is just all doom and gloom. But there is just one point I want to make, and that is, so far, round-wise, this map has gone exactly the same as the previous one.
Yeah.
And
I think it's an important point to bring up.
That last round that they just achieved on border was the last round they got of the entire game.
Yeah. It is an important point to bring up, because as you've noticed it, I'm very, very sure that PENTA probably noticed it as well, Jack.
I'm sure hoping so, because now's the point to, throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah, and I've got to say the C4 is an interesting one. Definitely waiting for this Maverick to come through.
Yeah, I love this.
As soon as they hear that, the C4 goes off. Very well played from Z-Tac, though, because they just backed up. They didn't let it get them killed.
Triple?
And now that ace jammer will go down a little bit too late to stop this breach. But when you look at the breach going out, That's going to be made as a full rotate. A lot of utility committed to that side, but not for nothing.
That was all 3 Selmas.
Yeah.
It's a bit questionable, but we'll let it slide for now. All 3 Selmas now used. Isn't going to be able to use those for any more towards the actual site. C4 rings out. Isn't able to find the man that is going to be repelling on those windows. Looks like he just fell off and got back on. Bandit going to be trying to do the same thing, but also doesn't hit the mark. Still 10 players alive, and, well, with there being 1 minute and 40 seconds, if nothing happens in the next 20, I think we're going to have a bloodbath.
Well, yeah, I mean, time to get down 10 players in the lobby. It can only end one way, and that is with one of them being the victor. Like you say, as time takes down, the attackers haven't really made much entryway onto the site, even though they've got that breach open. Again, they're still playing on these windows, waiting for these waiting for the defenders to swing them.
That was closer than I would have liked it to have been.
Yeah. Doesn't find that Ash, and now they're going to jump into this.
In the corner.
They don't check out the corner. They're not aware of the player there. And while Disrupt will find Irons, that means that defense, as Tom, Sizzo, and Klein are all going to clean house. And as Tom gets another kill, it's all down to Zaytag again. And in this position, and CEO realizing that they're all on the other side of the map, and so is the case. With 55 seconds left, there's only one thing to do, and that is kill. Finds a player of Yashiro, looks over towards that meeting site, doesn't spot the player just in time, but might be a blessing as they know they need to go get that case. The flashbang will fly out and gives the information of where they are. They don't know about the player towards Spiral, and Sinzo is going to put a very clean ending onto that 4-2 split for the defense.
Indeed he does, and the Vector, a beautiful gun, as he does manage to find that final kill. It was really, really well played from the side of Asgard. They took advantage of the fact that they've been misdroning once again, and realistically that should be a telltale sign. As you said before, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. And when it comes down to it, you've been fooled twice now on droning, entirely droning alone.
Yeah.
On the side of Penta, and that means their info game, it sucks. So now we need to, fix that and do something about it, because if we don't, we struggle. And that is something that is being taken advantage of. You can see there is going to be a rush plan on the attacking side. There is a Ying, there is a Capital, there is a Grim. They've brought along the Glass. That this is going to be a rush plan. Obviously they don't, but as long as they have utility, they have maybe an Echo Drone for spotting it out, they have a Mute Jammer for stopping the Grimbees from activating, maybe they have a couple of Wamai gadgets to catch them, and, Wamai is the only, other than Aruni, Wamai, between Jaeger and him, is the only one of the two that can actually get the Capital bolts.
See, here's the thing for me. This is where Asgard are going to set a very strong tempo in this attacking side. They're going to show that they are here to play. They are not going to wait around. And like you say, there is that rush setup. They have that Ying. They have that Glass to the post plant. They have everything they're going to need. And now they have somebody to go below to try and deal with utility. As you can see right now, already positioning very, very close towards each other, ready to go for this execute. And the Candela is going to go off like a dinner bell. Not before that drone goes in. Spots these players. They know that the players are there. They don't know that they've rotated off. And now the Grim Bees will go in, locking down that location. Candela's sure to follow, and having that Glass on top, will he be able to help out? This means that Zaytak, as they drop, will be taken down. The flames go out as Bucky has an answer, but Clank gets one of their own. And as the Candelas go through, they're going to look at jumping in soon. But they might just be waiting for another kill. And as they have that information coming in on Disrupt, that's what they're going to look for. XC finds Clank. The C4 goes out. It's not going to find its mark. They have to pick it up, but Disrupt has already swung and stopped the flank going down. It's all down to Yashiro and Cisno, as Yashiro will jump in. As Cisno gets a kill of their own. A 2 versus 2 with half the round left, and they're rotating off because they have time to deal with this. It went so wrong, but they haven't even had the nail in the coffin yet.
That is 100% the case, and the Ying is going to be ending up almost in an engagement against Mute there, as he was going to be holding that for at least a little bit, but doesn't peak the angle that she's going to be trying to watch inside of the first floor closet, and Glass going to be making his way in through the main entrance. So I'm pretty happy with the way the defenders handled that. I think I think going downstairs in general wasn't a great idea. For the simple reason that you had 2 C4s, you wasted one of them by dropping the bandit downstairs before actually utilizing it. And the C4 has more than enough range for you to just throw it from the side door. Like, you do not need to go downstairs to throw that C4. And even if they have some way to try and counter it, it's not going to do a grand amount. But now it's a 1vx.
Yes, because you can see there, Glaz does have that SMG in hand. They will look for that kill, but it's going to be Crizzy who takes them both down and gets that first attacking round, or first defensive round for the side of Penta Club. Very, very switched on and very aware of where they need to be playing. They realized where Asgard were going to try and cross them from, and they were able to just get the timings to perfection. Again, like you say, that defensive round started out so well for them. As soon as they realized that they didn't need to get a little bit too aggressive, they didn't need to be swinging the window.
Yeah, I think the common misconception for the top floor is bringing a mute instead of a smoke, because mute's only really useful if you're trying to deny the intel, whereas smoke, and this is an Alamal theory. This isn't a theory of my own. This is something Alamal said. Bringing along the smoke is so much more impactful. Because it's one of the only operators that has a gadget that denies an area and can be used on command. The only other real one is Tachanka, because, you know, it can be bounced off the wall. It reaches so far into that corner, even if you just throw the smoke canister on the floor next to the bookcase. So, and there's so much more you can do as well. Like, for example, if you destroy the top tile of wood that is on the floor next to the bookshelf on the opposite side from the window, you can C4 from below without going below, because you can just throw a C4 in the floorboards, blow it up, and the guy that's planting in the corner dies. So there's so many ways to deny that plant and stop that from coming through without it being nearly as messy for the defenders. But either way, they won. Chrissy was on. That was probably one of the better 2 pieces I've seen in the ESA Cup as a whole. I'm pretty happy with the way that went, and I think that realistically he couldn't have played that better.
Yeah, I think it was very well played from them to try and keep themselves in it. Now, though, they're going to have to do it again, but hopefully with a bit more confidence than they did last time. Actually, and Disrupt are going to start things off. Those Romans able to find 2 quick kills, taking down both the Buck and the Zero. Now, we talked about the flank watch earlier when they were on the defense, but Asgard are going to have that denied from them now. Well, Tom does have an answer. It isn't going to replace that soft reach utility in the same way. Yes, they have a RAM, but they only have 3 drones, whereas Buck is a lot more localized, and they can focus and be a lot more specific on where they want that soft destruction. Now Ram's going to be, and Jackal are going to be stuck with that secondary shotgun. It takes time, it gives away your position, and most importantly, it is going to waste that time, like I said. It's such an important point, you have to bring it up multiple times. Now, the Jackal scan will come through, force someone out of position. That's not going to stop them.
I want to quickly make a point that I think Exy there was the true idiot. I don't think it was a good idea for him to stay. I think that was his fault that he's dead, and I don't think that he should have actually stayed on the first floor, because there's a theory I have, and there's a theory that at least a couple of top T1 teams inside of the PC scenes follow, and that is the fact that you've gotten a kill, and screw that, you got 2 on your own. At that point, get out of there. Play your 5 men on site. Do you understand how scary it is to push 5v5 on site? And you've just killed 2 of them.
Exactly, and while some players might and some teams might go for that side of, oh well, just play your life. You're just working for time now, and that's certainly something that has got in favor of the defense. Exactly,
trying to get more kills.
Exactly, because right now, they weren't able to bring that player down, and now we're in a 3 versus 1 in favor of the attack, who've been able to pick these players apart. The plan is going down, and Disrupt is very aware that the Jackal's going to be watching the angle, but not sure exactly how, and that's why they get closed down. And I think, it, again, just comes down to that early round, like you talked about with the Rome.
It's like, the way, it's like, I think Senzo, or not Senzo, I think Exy generally just kind of like, got too over aggressive, but, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I think it was Ztac that went upstairs and started punching the wall. That guy's just feeding. That was just a throw. Like,
Yeah.
you alerted them of your position, you played the punch hole that you made last, even though he was watching you make them, and you knew he was there because you had the audio because there was punch holes. So it's like, you need to be a little bit more aware of that situation, that instead of going upstairs in a 4 versus 3 and potentially sacrificing your life, equalizing the man count so the attackers can then have a re-advantage going towards the site, that's just a bad idea. Xe dying, cool. It could have been fine. But it wasn't because we sent another man.
Yeah, I 100% agree on that one. Now, this is where PENTA Club will get the chance to kind of redo everything and see what they can fix, because Xe again is on that top floor alongside Disrupt. The drones are there, they know that the defenders are going to be holding that position, and as a result, the attackers are going to have to deal with it. Now, you can see Deimos is being brought out on this one to do exactly that. The reason for this is they know that they can get these players off the board. They've done it once, they could do it twice. If they do that, they get that advantage when they get the breach open and start executing. So the real question for me in this one, Naj, is do they go for that rotate? Do they realize they need to pull back? I mean, Xe is in a great position to do so. The attackers can really cut them off at this point as the attackers do start to move in, getting their drones in, again, just spotting where these players are.
Indeed, bit of a whiff on the drone there. It is going to be Sentry hovering around on that admin side and is a little bit more aware of this player's positioning. I would like to... Oh no, never mind. He has placed them down. I'm just not used to the new UI yet. I thought Sentry still had 2 barbs in pocket. But no, they are active currently, and well, just a lot of drone work coming out of the side of Asgard right now. There's people playing around yellow, going for the little drone work over there. You've got Xe that's just lost his life upstairs because of people pushing him a little bit more than he expected, and got himself pinched by the Deimos and the Ash. And now they're just going to be looking to get rid of the electrification off the wall and get themselves set up for an execute.
Yeah, it's quite impressive because they were actually tracking the Sentry on that one, and they were able to find Xe. As a result, Disrupt's dropped down. This is where Tuberow's coming in as a massive favor at the moment because they're going to stop that breach getting open as easily. Isn't going to stop it completely, as you'll see there, as Zatak's able to find Klein and bring us down to a 4 versus 4. Now they've gone up in Visa, they need to start bringing it down. If they get picked off at this point, again, we're talking about that player advantage in favor of the attack. A minute 10 left on the clock into the attack. They're going to look at focusing towards this execute, get that smoke grenades in there, start getting that execute down. And right now they have control of these staircases as well. The attackers on the top floor got the decision on whether they want to hold the vert, which they should, or if some of them want to drop down and start getting aggressive with the attackers. As the drones come through, two of the defenders are spotted. 4 versus 4. You know this execute is just going to come out soon. And with the last 40 seconds, this is just going to be a bloodbath. As yellow gets opened up.
Final setup underway now. They're just getting some doors open, getting themselves ready. Smokes have gone in, and Iron's going for the plant.
Yeah, and like you say, Iron's going for that plant there. Yashiro will find a kill. Tom has a very clean shot onto Disrupt to take it out. And while Zeta will have an answer, the plant still goes down. The C4 flies out, but a bit too late and doesn't find its mark. Zeta has control of the top floor and will find Irons, but now they have to go downstairs and become the attacker themselves in a 1 versus 2 situation. And Sinzo takes control of the vert as well. So if they do start going for the defuse, that's something they can contest. So now Tom and Cisno just have to play it safe. Time ticking down and match point all but certain. As they look at this last possible 20 seconds, and they will close it down. Cisno gets that round win. And now we are on a 6-3 scoreline. And it looks like Asgard are going to be able to close this down, as no doubt PENTA will go back to that top 4.
I want to say that the way Asgard played that round in the when they had 2 players remaining alive, I literally cannot fault them. If I was analyzing that, I'd be silent. Like, that was genuinely like professional play. There is nothing wrong with the way they played that. They moved the player upstairs. They retook the space that was given to them by the guy trying to rotate down towards the diffuser. He rotated down the yellow stairs. While he was rotating, the guy that was on yellow door rotated out of the door, played a bit of contention to slow him down so they had more control on the vertical, and then moved over towards the main breach to play as a distraction while the guy on the vertical got the kill. That is a wonderful little playbook and very well telegraphed between the 2 players that we were watching.
Yeah, and you can't even blame Irons for dying, because at that point, Irons essentially became a drone and just gave away the position of the defender, which meant then, like you said, the attackers could coordinate and play together, and very, very well done. That's what you expect to see teams trying to be at the highest level they possibly can in ESA Season 9. And we are getting quite a way into this season at the moment. It feels like Asgard, one round away from closing things down and making sure we don't see a third map on this one. But Penta, they're still on that top floor. This is obviously a must-win, as is every round now, as they need to play that perfect game of Siege to get to overtime, to get to map 3.
Indeed, and well, the high potential of the Asgardians themselves is going to be posturing themselves up to go towards this top floor main breach, and with no electrification on it, no electrification on the defending side, they are going to be just able to get this wall open for free. Potentially going to be a mute jammer on it, but it doesn't seem to be denying much right now, as we can hear those Selmas going off, and Ash going to be trying to drone on towards this PENTA window. Doesn't see anything, gets shot out by the Melusi, and well, there goes a C4 from XE to find Tom.
It's nothing you can't criticize the C4 game that we've seen so far. We've seen some massive impact kills coming out, and this is one of them. Twitch. So much utility on the defensive side can be taken away by the Twitch drone, no longer. Unless you think the weapons on the board as well.
I think if it wasn't for those two that got through over the top and went out the window that missed, I think if it wasn't for those two, we'd have a 100% C4 success rate. But that was crazy. That angle's nuts.
Yeah, Zeta getting taken down through the vertical from down below, but Disrupt has an answer. And we'll find Yashiro. Still, the attackers, they have to move into this admin side, and now it looks like it will be down to Irons to try and make that happen. Alongside Clay not watching the cutoff spots to play it just about. But it's going to be Irons who takes down EXE. And now, with a minute,
very comfortable in that position.
Yeah, a minute 20 left. They're just going to pull back now, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I don't think anyone's on vending as of right now. There is the shield over towards long desk. No, it doesn't look like it. All three players are on screen right now. One of them's in CEO. They are going to be a little afraid of this long desk area, but as long as they get the information they need, they should know that nobody is going to be hovering around that side. Everybody on the attacking side just stalling for the moment. 45 seconds left on the clock, and they need to get themselves ready for this execute.
Yeah, now here's the thing. Now that they have IQ on the board, they're aware that these yokai drones are going to be in play. The thing is, though, if they can't get to them, they can't shoot them. And if they're in a situation where they have to choose between a gunfight or taking down the util, you know which one they have to go for. The push starts to come through with 30 seconds on the clock. The impact's going to look to try and get these Goyo canisters off and waste that time. But it's going to be Irons nearly able to find the shot to disrupt. Will not happen. So now Clay looks to back them up. Spots a player. CEO doesn't find the kill. And has to rotate over towards Spiral with the other attackers. Chrissy and Bocky each have a kill of their own. It's all down to Clay. Clay's unable to find Melusi. Can down the Echo, but isn't going to be able to get the Planko down in time because Bocky's going to shut things down with the last 2 kills and keeps Penta in it. Now, though, this is where the big ask has to come through.
Yeah, you got to be perfect for 3 now as, well, they found the first. Only 2 remaining in order to bring us to that fabled overtime and potentially push us towards that map number 3. At the moment, it looks too little too late. It looks too far. But, well, the finish line's in sight. Yeah, Penta could be coming out of this as the map win. Or map victors, should I say.
Yeah, and this is... They're going to head back down to this bottom floor. This is a big, big ask, because if they win this, then, okay, for the side of Penta, if they win this, they've got to go onto the arguably harder site, which is that tertiary site. Whether they do decide to go, which they probably will, for that piano main lobby side, or if they want to do the archive visa hold. Regardless of what happens, this is the round that they need to win, because obviously if they don't, they'll lose. I mean, you score more goals, you get the ball in the net, you score a goal. That's how it works.
Yeah. The first half of the basement rounds that we've seen so far from Penta have gone really well. The problem lies in, well, yeah, we did lose one, but it went quite well even after that point because they managed to equalize. Then they got it into an advantage. and then it kind of just like stumbled a little from there as trades came back and forth. But generally speaking, the first half of the rounds for these basement holds have been pretty good for Penta. And I think that if they're able to just carry that through by maintaining that man count, there is a bit of aggression on that yellow door. I'll let you take that in a second. But I think that they would just be able to have so much more impact.
Yeah, I think the main thing it comes down
to...
I think the main thing it comes down to is kind of micro-positioning and coordination, because at the first round, you see Disrupt finds a kill on Yashiro, Xy's going to look for another one, while the attackers look to roam clear. But when we get to that late stage, what are we going to do when things start going wrong? That's the question Penta need to be asking, and they need to be prepared for, and they need to have some answers very, very quickly. They have that player advantage, and like you say, they can just drop down below, but Xy isn't going to do that. They're 9 and 10 at the moment. They are definitely picking up the team by the bootstraps in terms of frags here, and they've only got Tom and Cisno actually out-fragging them at the moment, and they've made the attackers slow things down. That's the important bit. And as you see, if you look at that drone, if you look very carefully, you'll see, yes, the sentry was spotted, but the visual effect was there, but they didn't spot that player. Actually goes for the swing and isn't able to find the kill, and as a result, the Jackal scanner will give the info. The top floor third of Tom was going to lock Disrupt in here. Disrupt has to play their life, and it doesn't matter who's going to beat them. They will most likely die. Xy will try and help out, as will the player of Zaytak, as they pretty much all go on that top floor as Tom gets that kill. Now, if they read into this, they can get very quick execute.
Yeah, once again, isolating that player, something a lot of people tend to forget. The reason I say you need to preserve this man count is because as much as they found the opening kill and decided to stay upstairs, if they push upstairs only, it is a 4v2. That man advantage doesn't help you if you're not with the other men.
Yes, and right now, Xy is stuck on that top floor, and while they have got a kill onto Cisno, who's just hit 15 kills in this map alone, they are now going to have to just play their life. They're going to look for Tom as well. They're able to find Clay. It's all down to Iron to close things down as Xy is fighting to keep the side of Penta Club alive. Will look for this final kill. Isn't able to find it just yet. And Irons might be able to stop that kill coming out onto the Vigil. And while they do, let's talk about what they've got. 30 seconds left on the clock. They've got to get down below. And the SA have case. But Boggy and Chrissy know exactly where they are. 20 seconds ticking down. Both guns are going to be focusing over towards this position, and you can see the crossfire is lined up. That's why the util is going to come out now. The push goes into Yellow Pillar, but the Banshee slows it down. And the dinner bell for Penta as they get around, they should not have had. And 100% all down to Xy.
Oh, facts. That was absolutely wonderfully played by him near the end there, and he managed to get himself into such a fantastic position just to be able to contest against those two players that, you know, were hovering around that side. And, well, it managed to win the round. So I think, like, really silly decisions, like over peaking at the end of that. Like, I mean, we both saw him, like, try and retake a gunfight 3 times without actually firing anything. Realistically, a situation like that, just run away. Even if it means having to use an impact grenade or dropping down the hatch, I think the hatch was reinforced, but if you don't have to drop down the hatch, you can just run away from that doorway and prone behind the trophy stands, and you're fine. Like, you get away from that situation, and you make him have to waste time trying to come and hunt for you, instead of actually, like, you know, just trying to take the gunfight.
And I think what you said was the most important thing as well. Like you said, having that player up on the verticality is great when it comes to the end of the round, but when there's executes going on the side and you're having 5v5 gunfights, that extra player above, say on the roam look, isn't going to help. Unless they have something like that. Xy stepped up in a massive way, but a team cannot rely on that just to keep them going to overtime, just to keep them going onto that one next map. They need to have a little bit more about them, and that round cannot be going that way for them again. So as they do head onto that tertiary bomb site, for the first time we're seeing it actually on this attacking side, then we're going to see how Irons and the rest of us, Asgardians, are going to be dealing with that. A lot of soft breach on the util.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I'll be honest. Bringing along the Ash with the soft breach charges. We also have the Ram, the Buck. It's all over the place. We even have the DMR from Dekebi, who, as we know now, can, you know, destroy hatches and things like that with the DMR changes that happened a few seasons back. And I think that's such a great change for DMRs. It makes them
Oh,
so
yeah.
much more viable in a lot of these situations. Well, it's going to be Tom to find the first kill. Vigil gets himself a stim because he kind of needed it, I guess.
Yeah, he
And,
nearly found himself the second kill on that one, I
oh,
think.
really? Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the DMRs are giving him a reason to be picked now. And as a result of that, Dockerby combined with the Util really found a resurgence in that map pick. Now the drones will come through and the rest of the defense will be looking to just really shut down the attackers here. And my lord, is it all to play for? Like we say, if they win this round, they will push us through to the overtime. But if they don't, as Guardians can close this all down, Yashiro's going to make sure that they get as close as possible. And Boki, or wherever that ram, isn't going to be able to find the kill. The bird just isn't working out as Zeta and Arna each get a kill of their own. A 2 versus 4 as the flank comes up from Zeta. Able to find a buck, doesn't finish off the kill. Actually, Yashiro gets taken down. The buck's there as well. And Chrissy and Cisno will each find a kill now in a 1 versus 1. One player above, one player below. And now for Cisno, they have to make 17 kills to keep in favor of this. But the ping comes out. They know where the player is, and Chrissy has to deal with this. A minute ticking down. Case going to be picked up by the R4C. And I think they're a little bit aware. They know that player could be up on that top floor because that's where the buck died to. So they're going to be aware that they need to worry about this. But as that Judge Shotgun goes out, information will be given to the attacker, and they'll know exactly where this dock is playing. And as the plan starts to go down, the swing from Cisno is surely going to answer, but it's going to be a fake. Flashbang goes down. As time ticks down, and you can see that Chrissy knows they have to go for this gunfight. They have to win it out, otherwise it's all over and they get knocked down. And as the pace goes down for possibly the final time, it's going to be Cisno who will be able to get the plant down. And Chrissy looks to take the gunfight, but isn't going to be able to win it. Cisno wins it out and knocks Penta Club down, and will keep Asgard flying high.
Yeah, that's going to be Asgard with the win. Everybody that was predicting that way has, well, been correct because, you know, it was majority in favor of Asgard. Asgard are here to prove a point. The point they're here to prove is the fact that as much as we're at the bottom right now, we're not the worst team here. And we aren't going to go out without a fight. More than likely, I can see this being the team that we see, you know, claw their way through this, manage to get their way through to playoffs, and you know, really start to make a show and a spectacle of the team they've created. I think, generally speaking, Asgard has a lot of potential after what we've seen in that game. And I think there's a lot more that could be brought to the table for the side of Penta.
Yeah, but that isn't to be a bad thing. I mean, there's improvements to be made, yes. Like things like we say, like that little coordination, especially in the late round, kind of what happens when things go wrong. But there's a lot of good things as well in there. We saw very good at side on the defense, or on the attack as well. They actually gave Asgard a very good game on that one, as opposed to that border. You weren't expecting something great from them this time, and I think you'd be right to kind of agree that they did give in that one. There we go.
Yeah, it's you know, one of those situations where you kind of just like you kind of got stiffed, and it just is what it is. It's like border didn't exactly go great. It ended 7-2. You know, you struggled to really find your feet in general at all in that map. And then the first half of the next map just goes exactly the same way. I mean, for any player that has even any semblance of a brain cell, they're going to be sat there worried like the moment they hit that mark, because it is just harrowing. It's a little scary of a situation to be in when you know for a fact that it's just going the exact same way it did last time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like moving forward, though, there's things both teams could definitely take from here to improve and get better. But that is going to be us for today, Naj, isn't it? As we do take a look at this updated bracket. And as you could say, like you see, Asgard able to get that victory up against the players of Penta Club. And you see Penta Club are the first team to be knocked out on this one, and Asgard will join the 1-2 split over towards that middle side of the bracket. Looking like a very exciting time as we start to round out this season here.
Indeed it is. And, well, I'm excited to be back for more. I'm excited to be doing more casts, and I'm really excited to see how this bracket goes. I really want to see these teams really do well. There's teams on here that I saw that were struggling before and are now doing much better for themselves. Look at QUQ, look at Crown Zero, Minions once again, they're climbing back up there. Project Black X, teams that I can see are now doing really well, that I want to see them continue doing well, and teams that aren't doing as well that have a lot of potential, or I have seen in the past, like Aspire and Asgard. So it'd be nice to see what they can do.
And again, very excited to see that Entropy is actually down there as well, because the Entropy are considered one of the kind of giants of this season, of this league. And it's one of those when they start getting knocked down, I feel like that, and I always come back to it, I feel like that's where we see the benefit of having this shorter team pool, because it means the competition is so much better. The teams that get in are so much better. Now, though, enough talking about the brackets of what we're seeing at the moment. Let's talk about what we're going to see tomorrow. Now, this game does actually start half an hour earlier than normal, so it's 7 o'clock. You are going to see Team 7-8 going up against E-Wave Esports, and I'm going to be looking forward to that, especially because my good friend Delta Bacon is going to be casting that one. For this, though, that is going to be ourselves done for tonight. I hope you enjoyed watching what you've seen so far and watching Penta put on a valiant display, especially on Consulate. But I've got to say thank you to Orgon for observing. A huge shout out to Bosmax for putting everything together and producing. And Jack, thank you for joining me, all right?
It's all right, bro. I want to do one thing quick that I do that Bosmax maybe hates me for. I'm going to hijack the stream for just a second. Huh? I can do it on cams?
Oh, he's spoiling it here,
all
isn't
right. So, as he just said, I've been Naj, he's been McCready. I pointed the opposite way. Either way, I have a YouTube, I have a Twitch, etc., whatever else. Please check me out if you're interested in seeing more of me. I am a bit of an ADHD freak, but I do my best. And also, like, I'm trying to do more content. I've not had a lot of time. So I do have like 4 videos in the works, and 3 of them are delayed because, you know, other people aren't really like helping in areas that I am not very informed. So we're gonna have to see how those go. But one of them I am doing myself. It will be coming out sometime soon, I hope. And yeah, like, please just check me out on everything. I need the support emotionally, as well as on the follower account. McCready, anything you want to shout out for yourself?
I think I'm doing all right, other than it sounds exciting on your channel. But as well as that, if you want to keep up to date with the console scene itself for the ESA, do not forget to join the Discord, get on Twitter, just as like Naj said for themselves, get involved. There's only one way you can, if you're watching this and want to be a part of it, there's only one way, and that's by getting in the Discords, getting involved and seeing what's happening. Never miss a thing. But most importantly, we'll see you tomorrow.